I got my MTV. I'm savage. I'm a savage. Oh, I'm a savage. Whatever I want, I'm going to get. Whatever I want, I have to get.
Jail is terrible for anybody, but for someone who's used to having people wait on them hand and foot and never stands in line and always, gets front row and gets the best table and gets to have the exact opposite, what a life-changing moment. I mean,
What if I told you that one of Hollywood's biggest stars walked away from everything to expose the twisted games being played behind closed doors? Terrence Howard, an actor many of us know and love, has just lifted the curtain on the ugliest secrets the entertainment industry has kept hidden for years. And in doing so, he's not only revealing the shocking truth about Hollywood, but also about one of the most powerful men in the game, Diddy. This is the story of how one man's refusal to play by Hollywood's rules led to a public scandal. And what happened when Terrence took a stand against the dark underbelly of the industry? Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear is about to change everything you thought you knew about the entertainment world.
You have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
It all started innocently enough. Terrence Howard, a household name in Hollywood, gets an invitation from Diddy, an invite to one of his legendary parties. But this wasn't just any invitation. It came with a promise of something more. "Come, help me with some acting," Diddy allegedly said, presenting Terrence with an offer that seemed professional at first glance. But when Terrence arrived at Diddy's mansion, things took a dark and unexpected turn. What was supposed to be a work-related meeting turned into an uncomfortable, almost surreal experience. Diddy's actions were anything but professional. Terrence was left questioning his motives. Was Diddy really looking for help with his acting, or was there something more sinister behind this invitation? It was clear from the moment Terrence stepped into that room that there were hidden layers to this invitation. The energy shifted as soon as he arrived. Terrence, a man known for his integrity, found himself trapped in a situation that didn't sit right with him.
With Diddy.
You got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. Who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. But when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man.
In December 2022, something unexpected happened. Terrence Howard announced his retirement from acting. On the surface, it seemed like a typical career decision, a man ready to step away from the spotlight. But those who knew him best understood that his decision wasn't driven by the usual reasons. It wasn't because he was tired or had no more roles to play. No, it was because Hollywood had pushed him out. The truth was, Terrence wasn't retiring because of his career slump. He He was retiring because Hollywood had made it clear they weren't interested in working with him unless he played by their rules. And when Terrence refused to compromise his values, they began sidelining him, labeling him difficult and hard to work with. But as he walked away from Hollywood, the real reasons behind his exit remained a closely guarded secret. That is, until now, Terrence's return to the public. I came with a vengeance, no longer the actor willing to stay silent. He was ready to expose the industry's darkest secrets. His story was no longer about fame or fortune, it was about standing up against the corruption that had cost him so much.
Indicted just like Diddy.
Look, when Jay signed his contract, the big one was with Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those fucking trophies, trophies came rolling in, buddy. He started getting Grammys left and right, man. I mean, look, if you look at his career,
This guy.
Oh, wow. You're gonna let him say that?
Jay was getting Grammys.
he had one.
Exactly.
He had one.
And he ain't show up.
No, he has like 20 now.
Hold on.
He had like 18 since he been down. Look, he had one, bro. Hard Knock Life.
Hold on. You're not wrong. At the same time.
After that, he got them shits. He's like drinking. His pictures with him like fucking things the cup.
Wait a minute. So you're saying the success is derived from the marriage?
I've absolutely been treated differently.
The accolades.
Because he's no
marriage.
longer viewed as what, like a street or gay?
The position Beyonce's.
Oh, wow.
Jay-Z's career, you can look at that and say the association to Beyonce is when he started to receive the 16, 17 Grammys since he's been with Beyonce. Right? And you go, prior to that, one.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that came in association, like you see the kids even have Grammys. Like they don't sing yet. They don't sing.
Right.
They don't rap yet. And they already have Grammys and shit. So it's like they give them this trophy so we secure that they're coming to the award show. It meant that much to the culture that they just gave.
Terrence Howard's truth is one that many in Hollywood want to keep buried. The industry has long been a place where power is wielded without regard for integrity, but Terrence's decision to expose the truth has sparked a conversation that can no longer be ignored. As more and more actors, directors, and producers come forward with their own stories of manipulation and corruption, it's clear that the industry is due for a major change. But will Hollywood change? Or will it continue to push stars like Terrence to the sidelines? One thing is certain, Terrence Howard has opened the floodgates, and the world is watching. What happens next, only time will tell. But if Terrence's story is any indication, Hollywood's grip on its stars is about to be shattered.
Going in. You better believe it. Shout at Def Jam. We the best. You know what it is. It's 2010, baby. It's the takeover. I'm going in.
Happy New Year to the whole planet. God is the greatest. Real talk. And you know, I mean, if there's anything that somebody can say better than that, I'm all ears. But with that being said, continuous blessings to the whole entire universe.
Peace out to my man Drake is in the house. Fabulous is in the house. This little brotherly love.
Terrence Howard's truth is one that many in Hollywood want to keep buried. The industry has long been a place where power is wielded without regard for integrity, but Terrence's decision to expose the truth has sparked a conversation that can no longer be ignored. Terrence Howard's truth is one that many in Hollywood want to keep buried. The industry has long been a place where power is wielded without regard for integrity, but Terrence's decision to expose the truth has sparked a conversation that can no longer be ignored. As more and more actors, directors, and producers come forward with their own stories of manipulation and corruption, it's clear that the industry is due for a major change. But will Hollywood change? Or will it continue to push stars like Terrence to the sidelines? One thing is certain, Terrence Howard has opened the floodgates, and the world is watching. What happens next, only time will tell. But if Terrence's story is any indication, Hollywood's grip on its stars is about to be shattered.
I'm crashing down.
If you're going to speak against me, then use the same courage that it took for me to say those truths. Man to man, eye to eye, integrity and in truth. I've spent a lifetime earning the right to speak with the conviction about these truths that I speak. So if you want to tear that down, have the decency to come and say it directly to my face. And say it like a man.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit because the man card means everything.
Memories of their abuse.
So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in.
As the night went on, things only got stranger. Diddy reportedly began making suggestive comments, and his behavior became increasingly uncomfortable. Terrence, however, wasn't having any of it. He knew something was off, and he wasn't going to let it slide. The actor who had risen to fame by playing strong, complex characters was now facing an entirely different kind of challenge, standing firm against Hollywood's twisted games. Terrence refused to play along, he didn't bow to the pressure, and he didn't back down. Instead, he made it clear that he wouldn't tolerate this kind of behavior, but his refusal came with consequences. Hollywood, as it turns out, doesn't like it when its stars refuse to play by its rules. This wasn't the first time Hollywood had tried to manipulate him. Terrence had faced similar situations before, where he was pushed to compromise his values for the sake of his career. But this time, he refused to back down, and it...
Listen, before y'all talk about me, y'all need to talk to me. You see, once upon a time, if a man questioned another man's honor, he didn't do it from the shadows. He had to do it out in the open, with his name, his chest out, and his chin high. Not hiding behind a keyboard or tucked behind edited clips of fair use disclaimers. You see, citing Section 107 of the Copyright Act does not give you free rein to defame, misrepresent, or harm another's reputation. Fair use is not a shield for character assassination. So here's the simple truth. If you take my words, my image, my ideas, and twist them to feed your fear and inflate your ego, if you profit off of my name while calling me a liar, then be prepared to stand behind your accusations.
Ah, but you got close when he offered to take you shopping.
Yeah, you see, Amika's in the same shirt. He's out there in the same shirt. This is not Photoshop.
Shit.
This is Stop it, man. You set that up. Look, obviously was not offended by what I was offended by. Guys may say to a girl, you know, like, let me take a shot. See?
Damn.
They found it that quick.
What do you think's happening in the middle?
I don't know what is going on there. Because it was like, he was like, yo, you hot now. Now we got to hang out now. Like, you know, like hang out. Yeah. He said, I don't know, man. I take you shopping and I get you some flash and you could give me the hood shit. And I was looking and I was like, let me just move away from him because I'm going to mess up the way. Certain things, they let it go by because it's Puff. He wasn't like in the closet. He was like in the hallway.
All these years, you being the only one calling this out.
I look like I've been the crazy guy for a long time.
They say you're a hater. They say you're crazy.
You do this, and now everybody's complaining. My ass is hurting.
Each other business-wise for a long time.
Well, that's why it's only business. It was really away from that. I explained why I didn't hang out with him, right? Because it's a little fluffy stuff going on.
It's not your scene.
It's not my style.
Not your scene.
They hug you from the front and the back at the same time. I got uncomfortable with him because the way he was asking to try and get me to hang out with him was like, yo, I'll take you shopping. Like, and I'm like, what you mean? Like, that's something you say to a woman you're attracted to, maybe.
Right.
It's just weird, bro. Like, and now you start to see a lot of the weird stuff that was there. It looks like it all lines up, don't it? It was not in the closet. It was in front of you and you wasn't seeing it because you see the beards or you see the girls. So you didn't look at them the way it actually is to a degree. Now, like, and when I say people respond, how people respond to things matter. Like the internet will take to it and just go off with it. Meek responds being the uncomfortability. He goes, yo, I'll spend $100,000 to find out why my name is in this like this, and it's in it only because he's uncomfortable.
As the night progressed, the true nature of Diddy's parties became more and more apparent. What was supposed to be a professional gathering was nothing short of bizarre. Terrence wasn't the only one who had noticed the strange, uncomfortable atmosphere. Other guests had been subjected to similar experiences behind the velvet ropes. Diddy's parties were infamous for their wild, unpredictable nature. What happened in those rooms was never meant for the public eye. But what Terrence was now realizing was that it wasn't just a party, it was a setup, a test of who would play along and who wouldn't. And for Terrence Howard, there was no playing along. It wasn't just about the acting, it was about the power. And in Diddy's world, those who refused to play the game were quickly ostracized. Terrence had stood up for his integrity, but now the Hollywood machine was beginning to turn its back on him.
Diddy and Ross, which they good buddies, okay? They're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay, okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter. Okay?
Who supporter?
Hamas.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No worries.
Hamas supporter, okay?
Right.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot.
Hidden in plain sight.
It's hidden.
I think I see what you're saying.
Okay, how do I know this?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How do you know this?
Do you know Sean Combs?
And I'm sure that's probably not public information yet, but who's the person that's number one on that invitation list?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
And I can get on that list,
yes,
right?
Yes, without a doubt, you are invited.
That is so generous of you. Cheers to that.
See you at the White Party.
By the way, it's interesting he's not suing these other celebrities that I mentioned, like Jay-Z and Beyonce and Gloria Estefan, possibly because he doesn't believe their alleged liability amounted to a civil claim, but seems to want to call them as witnesses at a trial, although I have to imagine they will do everything in their power to quash.
You gonna give him a pass. Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher? We was at the Swiss Hotel. Puff had Kim in the room. Had one of Keith Sweat's baby mothers in the big room outside the master bedroom. He came outside in his robe. She gave him a fellatio right there. His back was turned to me. She gave him a filet. You knocked on the door. I came and opened the door for you. Puff went in the room. You came in the room and kissed that girl dead in her mouth. Now I'm telling that because you taking up for somebody that you know and a lot of more people know didn't do you right when you was at Diddy camp.
16.
No,
16.
Slow down. Let's slow down, Justin.
Okay.
Let's slow down.
One
Okay.
step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when you get 16. You good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
And then when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay. I get the mansion?
Yeah.
So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him.
Nuanced perspectives.
It's kind of interesting. I think that civil suit turned into a look. They looked at it like maybe it's a criminal situation,
right?
A little early, and it could have been the same lobbyists and the same people that use their connections to make that happen for Puff.
Is that kind of why you was going hard on him the last couple years? Is it because of the liquor situation? Because to be honest, since the situation he's in now, it's kind of like you fell back on him. Was this all over the liquor, or you just said?
Well, most of that was motivation. That was competing,
right?
For with brands, and he was ahead of me,
right?
Because he had been working on Ciroc and stuff like that, and then integrating it into our culture and Coco Loso and different things with different people, connected to it. So, yeah, that's what that was. But when you look at, he would do a lot of foul shit, like behind the scenes. He would do some foul shit, like.
Diddy's team is losing it.
And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
in the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans.
And your parents
Jodeci,
were
Mary
okay?
J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
Oh.
I was having a good time. You know what I mean?
Does he have you doing any chores? Are you doing dishes at all? I mean, to keep you humble somewhat? Or are you just like, can you stay up till 4 a.m. with them and party?
I mean, I could. I actually stayed up longer than them.
And do you have money? What's going on?
I mean, I had like per diem. I had like,
What
like
a
living.
life.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
See?
I'm begging you, Rob.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's. To a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person. Besides his talent, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know. Justin, you.
You know, Diddy called his son a Bentley. Maybe, you know, he could buy you one also while you're
He
out.
got me a Lamborghini. And
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
About either, by the way, victim 4 or victim 5?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Absolutely. I know on Tuesday when we had spoke, we were talking a lot about victim 4, who we know to be a former employee of Sean Diddy Combs. And a lot of the issues surrounding victim 4 in this particular part was about her emails. I can't confirm that this victim is a woman. But as far as her emails goes, the defense wanted the full scope of the emails that the government did not have access to. And so the defense, to their point, they just wanted the full extent of it so it can show a clear picture, because previously they were arguing that this alleged victim was just cherry picking messages and emails between herself and Diddy and sending it over to the government. The defense on their part, they wanted the full scope of the emails. But as far as the judge and his ruling, he said that requesting the full extent of the emails, which by the way are like 100,000 emails, it's a lot of emails, especially if you were having trial next month. But the request he had said, he being the judge, was a fishing expedition. But he said, and he kind of left the door open with this, that if the defense wanted to make a renewed motion pointing to specific emails, specific key terms, then they could go about filing the appropriate paperwork, see how they could go about doing that.
Conspiracy?
Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there.
Was flown out to Atlanta by a manager. His name's Scooter Braun. Flown out to Atlanta just to meet with him and meet different producers and different people. I was actually going to meet Jermaine Dupri at his studio. And who rolls up? Usher in his Range Rover. Rolls up, and I was like, "Is that who I think it is?" And Scooter was like, "Yeah." And so I ran up to him and I was like, Usher, I love your songs. You want me to sing you one? And he was like, let's just go inside, little buddy. It's cold out. So the politest possible way he could say no, he did. And I was like, wow, he just turned me down. And I was a little disappointed. He had to go into a studio session, so I was like, whatever. And a week later, he actually watched my videos with my manager and was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I let him sing? So flew me back to Atlanta where I got to meet him again. And he wanted to sign me. But there was something else.
Justin Timberlake, right?
Yes, Justin Timberlake also wanted to sign me. It was like kind of like, what happened was Justin Timberlake and Usher both went into a ring and boxed it out. And the outcome was Usher. I think it was a TKO.
Bieber, who shot to global fame,